The USAID was also cut. A lot of those programs were cut. Well, the World Economic Forum received tens of millions of dollars of United States money over the years. And one of the things we're seeing now is, guess who's stepping down? Klaus Schwab is stepping down as the World Economic Forum's chair. So
Wow.
he stepped down as their lead, and now he's out of there. So if those things are related or not, I'm not sure. But boy, the timing seems really coincidental at this point. The big legal stories coming out was Johnson & Johnson. They're back in the news. This is something we've covered for years, you and I, even before COVID. Johnson & Johnson shares tumble as judge rejects $10 billion talc settlement. They basically, Johnson & Johnson said, we're going back to court to fight these, which seems like a terrible move because they were trying to have like a class action just to settle all of this. $10 billion, put this on the table. They can all go away. And these are the cancer causing, the baby powder is causing cancer for especially for women.
Yeah.
But they're going back to the courts now, and they've had some big losses in the courts. So that's happening on the consumer-based end. But also our friends at Bayer Agriculture, they just had another huge loss in a Georgia court. $2.1 billion
Wow.
is the latest Roundup weed killer loss. And again, this was related to the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We see a lot of those court cases centering around that. They've been hit, Bayer's been hit with nearly 200,000 cases. They set aside $16 billion for these cases, but at this rate, it doesn't look like it's going to be happening.
It's not going to hold up very long. I mean,
no.
They're blowing through it. They're blowing through it.
Glyphosate obviously is just the one active ingredient, but the entire formulation has never been tested for cancer, for long-term safety effects, and these court cases are just keep coming.
You have a product that's causing cancer. That's determined both by these court cases and the WHO ruling that we've talked about, IARC back in 2015. But just every time I think about this, the fact that Bayer Monsanto, this gigantic mega corporation, thinks that instead of making a better, safer product, let's go back to the drawing boards, that their best way forward is to use government to give them liability protection. If that doesn't the fact that anyone would even think that that could work in this country, I think shows you just how far off course we've gotten.
WTF? Question mark, exclamation point. Why is the Florida legislature advancing a bill to give immunity to pesticide makers?
Amazing.
So